So my name is Cantona Eric Ouko. So my 3 official names. The idea behind the name Eric Cantona was my dad was a big Manchester United fan, and he liked the French footballer who played for United, Eric Cantona. I was born around the same time he was retiring, so that is how I got the name Eric Cantona. Having been born in Nyanza, I was definitely introduced to football. That was the first sport that I ever knew. I've always been a big football fan. I played football as a kid until around Form 3. Yeah, so all along I was playing football. I grew up in Migori County. Migori County had one of the top Kenya Premier League teams in Sony Sugar. So I was exposed to the top tier of Kenyan football at a young age. So definitely, growing up, that was one of my many dreams, to play professional soccer for Kenya.
Okay. Did you? So you say you had an association with Sony Sugar?
Yeah. I was once at the Sony Sugar Academy. While I was in primary school, I played for the academy. It changed to rugby when I was in Kanga High School, where I went to high school in Form 3. Form 3, the final term of Form 3, that's when the interest in rugby grew. I had a friend who was also my classmate. He was called Timothy Ochieng. He is a good friend of mine, so he was the incoming captain at that time, and was also a classmate and was a close friend. So he is the one who introduced me to the game, technically. It was scary. I was a tiny boy. I was little, so I was scared of the big boys and big sizes. But he kept coming with me to training, kept encouraging me to play. The one reason why I got over the fear was he advised me to play at fly-off or scrum-off occasionally, because there is very little contact. Your job is primarily to distribute the ball, so you don't get that much into contact.
Did you ever contemplate to quit in your early days because of too much contact? And
No. The moment I stepped into the field, I just figured there was no going back for me. Actually, the point where I was like, I'm going to do this for a long while, was in one of the incoming outgoing games. Since I played as a Form 3, I played in the incoming and outgoing games, where the remaining team plays against the outgoing team, mostly Form 4s. And I had a good game compared to most beginners or most amateurs. So that encouraged me to just keep going.
Did you feature in any of the school games, tournaments, and maybe which level did you reach?
My best moments were sevens. The sevens counties that were played. The sevens counties that were played at Rakwaro Secondary School. I was the MVP. So I think that for me was one of the best moments playing rugby in high school. As expected, the reaction wasn't good. I was, like I said, I was a tiny boy, and at that time I was what they would call a softie. So, and rugby is definitely a big contact game. So my dad, my parents were not for the idea of me playing rugby. Plus, generally, my parents were for me to take the more academic route of everything. So they weren't for the idea that I was supposed to play rugby, because it was going to take up most of my time. Yeah.
How did you convince them?
I didn't have to convince them. I just kept on playing. I was admitted to Masinde Muliro University on a COSUPS selection. So I came to MMUST and found there was MMUST rugby. So that was it for me. That was the first professional club that I played for in Kenya, MMUST rugby. I joined MMUST when they were in their first season in the championship. Yeah, they just got into championship, and that is when I joined them. The first game watching was MMUST versus Western Bulls. It was my introduction to the Western rugby, Western region rugby. And I have to say it was a little bit scary because the game ended in skirmishes. It ended in a brawl. People fought. The ref had to be escorted out of the school because the game was being hosted at MMUST. The ref had to be escorted with security out of the school premises, but it was a good experience. It was the first time watching professional rugby being played for me. I can't say I found it so hard to adapt because when I came to MMUST, everybody was welcoming. Everybody was accommodating to the freshmen who are joining the team. I came to see another side of rugby because mostly in Nyanza we were taught the fancy rugby, the rugby that involved a lot of passing and a lot of running. But in Western, there's this bashing rugby where people just, the rugby is more physical, let me say that. So I was introduced to a different aspect of rugby, but the team was welcoming, so I didn't really struggle to adapt into the team. I played my first full match debut was in the second season of championship against Kabras FC. Yeah, at home. That was my full debut. I would attribute the taking that long to debut because of the size. As compared to everybody on the team, I was like the smallest. Even though I was skilled, I was good at the game, but I was smaller than most people, smaller than most opponents. So there was the coaches were really protective of me. They didn't want me to get hurt, so they kept waiting for me to mature up and grow up a little bit more, grow a little bit bigger, so that I could stand for myself on the rugby pitch. I would say that my success in rugby is greatly attributed to my footballing skills. I have a good record with the boot. I'm good with the boot, and I attribute all of that to my soccer skills. I was good at football. I still am good at football actually at the moment, and so it helped me so much with my kicking. That's why I am among, I know I'm ranked among the best fly halves in the country. That is because of my boot, my kicking skill. I learned most of that from football. Just like the name suggests, Makaka, we are a group of brothers who love each other, who are always there for each other whenever we need each other. So I could say that the success of the team greatly lies on the relationship between the players. The brotherliness between the players really impacts on the team when it comes to the field. So when you play, you know you're not playing only for yourself. You're playing for your next man and your next man, this side and this side. You're playing for more than just you. So when we have the match day 23-man squad, you know you're not only playing for the 23, you're also playing for the rest of the 80 who didn't make the squad, because the MMUST fraternity is such a big group of campus boys who come together to play rugby for themselves and for the team. The build up to us being promoted to Kenya Cup I think that was one of the moments where we really bonded as brothers. That is one of the biggest moments for us. That is one of the moments where I saw a group of young boys with a dream to play in the top league of the country come together and work together to just achieve that one goal with just one single match. We trained for almost 2 or 3 weeks just to play for 80 minutes. And at the end of the game, the results really showed how hard we had worked for that moment. The dream to play at the top flight rugby brought the team together. Everybody came in for us. Even the management, the school management came in to support the team just to achieve that one dream to play at the top tier. Comparing my first match in Kenya Cup and my first match in championship, the intensity was definitely different. But at least this time, I had gained some experience. I had been around different players, learned a lot of different things. So I wouldn't really say that I struggled to adapt to the top flight of Kenyan rugby, but it was a good experience, I would say that.
First season you missed the playoffs with I think less than 5 points.
Yeah, 5 points. We ended up at number 6, I think. Yeah, the playoffs were
cut at number 4.
Cut at number 4. Yeah.
So maybe how did you feel missing out the playoffs? And did it have an impact to the team heading to the following season?
Yeah, I would say it had an impact on the team because now we believe that we could do it because we were only short by a few points. So for us to be there for the first time in the league and miss playoff by just some points, yet we were newbies, that was encouragement to us that we could do it. It didn't matter who was brought to us, but we knew we could do it. In as much as it was also a disappointment not making it, but it encouraged us to believe in ourselves more, that we could do it despite being the newbies in the block. I wouldn't say there was a problem per se. Like most of the games, we finished most of the games, and after that, if somebody asked me what happened or what did you do wrong in this game, we didn't really have the answer because every time we were into that field, we gave it our all. We did everything we could. It's not like we slackened. Yeah, we, like they say in Swahili, tulijituma, but ilikata. Yeah, that's the best I can say. Tulijituma lakini ilikata. But it was not our easiest of seasons. It was a rough season, but one thing I learned from it is that on some days you will win, on some days you will lose, but all that matters is how you come back. Throughout the whole season, our coach, Dr. Ochieng Ahaya, and assistant coach, Mr. John Asila, they kept saying, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. All that matters is how many times you rise up. So that kept us going, and it ended up being one of the roughest seasons for us. But I wouldn't complain. We live, we learn. I think for me, each and every season that I've played for the team, each and every season that I've won the blue and white of MMUST rugby has its own high points. So I'll just mention the top 3 for me in each season. The first season for us in Kenya Cup. My best moment was definitely stepping into the field for the first time playing Kenya Cup rugby. That was like the biggest achievement for me. Then the second season, which for me still remains the best season for me, playing Kenya Cup rugby. That season had a lot of highs. It had a lot of highs, and it will be difficult for me to choose, but my favorite moment would be the away game versus Nakuru. we won that game. I don't really remember the scores, but I was man of the match. So that was, for me, that season, that was one of my best seasons, because okay, to mark the match, I think it was the match where one of the most widespread pictures of me doing a celebration copied from Edinson Cavani, the arrow thing. Yeah, that was one of my favorite matches. Then the third season, which we just finished, my favorite moment was playing against Nakuru at home. I think Nakuru are my favorite team to play against. Playing against Nakuru at home. We lost the match, but I think for me the whole season, that was one of my best performances. I had a consistent performance the whole game throughout the 80 minutes, scoring a couple of points, 40-meter drop goal, try, and some conversions. So for me, in the third season, that was one of my top moments. Getting relegated. that definitely had to be the lowest moment, getting relegated. The greatest lesson that I've picked from this period that I've played rugby is you only win when you work hard. It doesn't come easy. It never comes easy. You have to work hard for it to come. You have to earn everything you have, everything you wish for, you have to earn. It doesn't come easily. So I just learned that you have to work hard. And I also learned that you have to stay positive. It never goes your way every time. You never win every day. So you have to stay positive and have a positive mentality. That way you will enjoy playing rugby. Yeah. Wokorach. That came from one of my let me say mentors. He's called Elvis Amunya. So Elvis Amunya is a player for MMUST rugby. So when I joined MMUST rugby for the first time, the first week of training sessions, they didn't really know my name, plus the Cantona part. It's not that easy to say when you keep saying Cantona every time. So he called me Wokorach, after the famous Ugandan superstar, Philip Wokorach. Elvis thought that we looked alike, and I played almost like him. So that is where the name Wokorach came from.
Which players do you look up to?
I definitely start with Philip. Yeah, he's a mentor, he's a friend. Yeah, we talk, he tells me how to do some things. I also look up to former Kabras flyer or utility back, Kevin Keegan. He's just fun to watch with the ball in hand. Yeah, he's somebody I really look up to. International scenes, I'd say Marcus Smith, the English and Kenya Harlequins flyer. He's young, he's talented, he's just one person who I'd really like to play like. And I think his style of play is something that I'd easily emulate, because we have almost the same style of play. And there's also Henry Pollard for South Africa and Leicester Tigers. In Super Rugby, I support the Blues. In South Africa, I support the Sharks. In England, I'm a big fan of Queens, the Harlequins. In countries, I support South Africa. I'm a big fan of the Box. So those are my teams internationally. I'd really like to play for the Simbas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd really like to get in there and compete with the boys who are playing at number 10 and see what it has for me. but I'd really like to wear the Kenyan colors, either for Shujaa or for Simba, but that is just the goal at the moment, to wear the Kenyan flag. I'd really like to send this message out to everybody who plays rugby out there, every young kid, both girls and boys who are out there who have a dream to play at the topmost level of rugby in Kenya. Stay positive, believe in yourself, and work hard. Nothing comes easy, but when you work for it, it will always trace you wherever you are.